Hey, what up, y'all? So, I'm gonna try something different here. I'm gonna be a little vulnerable. I'm gonna share a side of me that I only told twice, and that was today. So, about a year ago, um, I was charged with 3 counts of child endangerment, felony charges. I spanked my children um, on their behinds, and I left bruises. So the consequence of that was, I got a no contact order from my children. I lost contact with them. I lost pretty much almost contact with my wife. It kind of split the family up. I did some jail time, and I lost almost everything I had going for me or planned to have going for me at that time. When I was in jail, I had seen a Bible, and it was probably the first time I picked up a Bible in years. And when I opened it, it opened to the first page, the first chapter of Job. Immediately, I closed it and I threw it. I already knew what that story was like. Really wasn't trying to hear that at the time. Didn't even want to go through that at the time. In the midst of that, I pretty much lost my mind. At that time, I was drinking real heavily, using drugs. So my actions led up to this consequence. I was in a dark place, probably one of the darkest places I've been in my life. Um, I was even contemplating suicide at one point, just to end the pain. The pain was just unbearable to me. It was just hard to face. So I was sentenced to 5 years of probation. I had to take drug evaluations, mental health evaluations. I had to take parenting class. It was just a bunch of obstacles that I really wasn't even trying to go through at the time. I was standing in the middle of a world that was continuously moving around me, and I felt like I had no place in. Like the world was just spinning around me so crazy, I was just afraid to jump in. I don't even really think it was I was afraid to fail. I think I was just afraid to succeed, afraid to actually do things right. Didn't want to try. Failed so many times. I was so used to failing. I was like, yeah, it's another part of my life again. I lived this way for a few months, just in the dark, lost. And one day I looked in the mirror, didn't even recognize who I was looking at, physically and mentally. Didn't even know who I was. It was so bad to the point I hadn't brushed my teeth for a couple of days. I hadn't shaved in a couple of weeks. My hair, I just threw it in a ponytail and just didn't care. So I decided to shave, clean myself up, pick myself up. I took a picture to kind of remind me of this person that I was at the time, because I didn't ever want to see that person again. I had no hope in my eyes. There was no light in there. It was just bitter, bitter pain, angry, hurt, sadness, depressing, very. During this time, I felt really alone. Probably mostly my fault. Anyone I talked to crazy. I was angry, blamed everybody, including myself, but mostly everybody else, you know. And It came to a point where I wanted to change the cycle. I was watching the movie Creed at the time, and at the last fight, he got knocked out. And he thought about all the pain and suffering that he went through, and that made him get back up. And when I seen that, it sparked this raging fire in me out of nowhere. And I was like, wow, I can relate to that. I can relate to being in and out of jail, going to prison. I can relate to being robbed. I can relate to stealing from people. I can relate to being shot. I can relate to the struggle. I can relate to failure. I can relate to being scared. I can relate to all these things. And I decided to use that to propel me forward for once. I stopped listening to everyone. The shoulda, coulda, wouldas. This is what I woulda did. I stopped listening to that because that's out of my control. I can't control no one but myself. Once I realized that pretty much almost changed my life. I became real spiritual. It was hard. It was very hard. And I mean, it was so hard that I had to take it 10 minutes at a time some days. Didn't even know how I was going to get through the day. I was just so hurt and miserable. Didn't even know how I was going to pick my head up. Didn't even know how to smile. Almost forgot how to laugh at sometimes. And I told God that I would go to church. Oh man, those 3 days up into church was horrible. That morning to go to church, oh man, I called my dad. I canceled. I was like, I had to work. It was just a war inside of me. I haven't been to church in years. Any place of worship in years. I was afraid. When I went to church after that war I walked in and I immediately felt peace. Felt at home. I cried, I prayed, I cried, and I prayed. And I came to a point to where I told God, I can't do this. This is not my fight. This is yours. So I'm going to let you do your job and I'm going to go do mine. I'm going to let you handle the things that are out of my control and I'm going to handle myself because that's all I can control. I start picking my head up. I start letting it roll off my back. I start rolling with the punches. And what happened for me, my life changed instantly. It was like a miracle almost. It was like God stopped the world, put me in my proper spot, and let it start spinning again. And it was like I was back in stride. Yes, I completed my parenting classes. It was hard. I got the relationship back with my wife. Yes, it was hard. I got the relationship back with my family. Yes, it was hard. But guess what? I did it. I made it. And instead of me holding on to that pain, I had to learn to drop it off here and there. Drop it off here and there. And I only hold on to so much of it, just enough of it to remind me of where I've been, that I don't want to go back to that at all. I hold on to just enough of it to keep me focused, to keep me in my lane. I hold on to just enough of that to remind me that I have to thank God. I have to pray to God. I have to keep my family first. I hold on to just enough of that. And sometimes just enough of that, the devil can get in there and he'll use it against me. Make me feel, hey, you remember this? Hey, you remember that? But I can't feed into that. And it's just come to a point to where I had to get it off my chest. I had to tell someone, hey, my relationship with God, this is what it did for me. Putting me on the track or the place or the path that I should go. I'm not where I want to be as far as the sense of society, but spiritually, I'm right where I need to be. And how selfish of I to just hold and to retain this information and not give it to you guys, and to share this and to see what an impact that I've had. And it was a hard fight, but I never gave up fighting, and I'm still fighting, and I'm going to continue to still fight. Today marks the 1 year anniversary of me and my wife, first anniversary. I'm grateful and I'm proud and I'm happy for that. And also look at it as like it's the anniversary of a new beginning. And so, my name's Edward Roberson, and this is a part of my life I would like to share with you guys. Thank you.